show you this real quick. I'll show you that hypocrisy real quick, okay? God, I just like, I watch too much news. I know too much news, okay? This is official. Hold on, I'm gonna show you. Where the is it?
That all think that
Here.
all Labour figures who support arming Saudi Arabia, who are on record supporting arming Saudi Arabia as it carpet bombs Yemen, I'm including people who've supported selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, like Luke Akers, who sits on the National Executive Committee, and I also mean dozens. And
I don't know why I'm doing so much Oibrov news lately. This has nothing to do with the fact that I was on the BBC, but, you know, I'm not pivoting to be an Oibrov news guy, okay? It just happens to be that, like, there's a lot going on in the Oibrov news section that actually corresponds to, like, American imperialist hypocrisy as well.
We're talking dozens of Labour MPs who voted in 2016. They defied the whip when Jeremy Corbyn put down a motion, or they can't remember, the motion was on arming Saudi Arabia. Do you think they should be kicked out of the Labour Party? If you support what?
No.
What? Oh,
So
okay. Yemen is the biggest humanitarian crisis on earth.
You do then, Owen. Are you saying Luke Akers should be kicked out of the Labour Party?
No, I'm not. You're the one who's saying people should be kicked out of the Labour Party.
So I am making a difference.
What's the difference?
We're
Yemen's
developing
the worst humanitarian crisis on earth. They are murdering children in buses with bombs from Britain.
Some understanding here. There are many differences that are containable within the Labour Party, but for me, the difference that says NATO is the aggressor in the Ukraine crisis is not containable, because Russia is waging a genocidal war.
Right. Okay. Why?
So that's my politics. That's my opinion. I think that's quite close to the leadership.
Why is the life of a Yemeni so much lower than that of a Ukrainian?
Dude, he's going to say something incredible, by the way. Navarre, these guys want to meet you, Hasan? Yeah, Navarre is great. They are another one of the media outlets that ask me to be on all the time, and I've always said no, because, like, I just don't have enough time, but maybe. But hold on. He's going to hit the line real quick. Listen.
Oh, again. So, Owen, this is the Putin talking point.
No.
He did it. This is the Putin talking point, Owen. Why are you bringing up dead Yemeni children? This is the Putin talking point, Owen. He did it. Oh, dude, get wrecked, Owen Jones. I mean, you just got Compster, dog. I don't know. I would probably quit. I would probably quit after that, dude.
Supporting Ukraine is racist.
How dare you?
Supporting Ukraine is racist because
supporting Ukraine is racist. Oh, really, dude? That's what he was saying? It's like Owen Jones is definitely a little bit more tempered than I am when it comes to this sort of stuff. Okay, and he is a supporter of not just like a supporter of Ukrainian emancipation, but like actually a supporter of like arming Ukrainians as best as possible. You know, so it's kind of wild to accuse him of this. Okay,
anyone who supports Ukraine is raising Ukraine above brown people. That's the Putin talking point. And
I support Ukraine's just war of liberation against Russian aggression. I support arming Ukraine against Russian aggression. Okay, on Yemen. Well, I've been to a Yemeni refugee camp. I've met Yemeni refugee children who drew pictures of their homes being bombed.
So you were asking me, what's the difference? There is no difference between the life of a Ukrainian and there's no difference.
So I'm asking you, why don't you support booting out Labour MPs who support arming a head-chopping, a dictatorship that beheads people like myself for being gay and Michael, that brutalizes women, that exports international extremism and carpet bombs Yemen? Why are those people in the broad church of the Labour Party legitimate political actors, and the people you're describing in Ukraine aren't? Why?
It's sad that they have that position. I don't know how many of them there actually are.
Dozens.
But, okay, dozens. Right, okay. It's sad, but it's not the same. Okay, it's not the same.
Why?
Why? Right? Because
the brown Owen. Because the brown Owen. Because the victims in this circumstance are brown Owen. Do I have to spell it out for you? Nobody cares when brown people are dying, Owen.
Right, well, one, we, Labour, are a party whose commitment to NATO is unshakable. It's
non-negotiable. But whatever, you
sorry,
but what's like...
Our commitment to NATO is unshakable. God, dude, imagine being so cucked, blowing a 13 colony lead, okay, straight up doing genocides like and calculated famines, whether it's in your own backyard in Ireland, okay, straight up continuing to starve out the country, blowing a 13 colony lead only to be America's dog, dude. Like, literally, we love NATO. We love NATO. Oh my God, dude. It's just the most cucked position that you could ever find yourself in. Ukraine ain't even in NATO. Yeah, but like, it's in America's interest. It's in NATO's interest. You know. Ooh. Ooh. Nice, dude. That boot must be tasting decadent right now, okay? Oh, God. The most cucked country on the planet, I swear. Holy.
What's it got to do with the value of life? It's a military organization.
No,
So the sanctity of NATO is more important than anything else.
No. The value of all lives are equal for me.
Good. I'm glad we've established it.
Okay, so
but Labour tradition values some lives more than other, and we have to be bound by Labour tradition.
No, that's nothing to do with Labour tradition. Labour's tradition on NATO is that we're part of NATO, and you cannot go on the doorstep with people who have wrongly and falsely, echoed the propaganda talking points.
Dude, why? He's just saying propaganda. He's just saying propaganda talking points. Dude, we're not talking about propaganda. Like, he's asking you directly, why do you think it's not enough? Like, why do you think people don't value the lives of people in Yemen? And he's like, oh, it's a Putin propaganda and NATO traditions. Yeah, it's Putin propaganda that there's like a massive famine going on. There's a massive famine going on. Forgetting you're from the school shooting country? Yes, dude, I know. At least the fucking school's not shooting gallery. All right, don't you worry about that, you little bitch. Okay, you feel me? I say this all the time. All you little Euro cucks, okay, sitting around thinking, oh, we are living in this social democracy. It's just a civilized country. Just wait. Look at what happened with all the anti-vaxxer rhetoric in your goddamn countries. Just wait. We export our brain rot so goddamn successfully that small arms manufacturers are coming to your doorstep. You think lobbying is not corrupting your institutions too right now as we speak? Yeah, just look to America to see what will happen in your doorstep in the next 10 years, okay? Watch from afar. Watch from afar and say, oh, at least our schools are not, at least math class is not Call of Duty. Yeah. And before you know it, it's like, oh no, our maths is also Call of Duty, bruv. What's happening, bruv? How did our national healthcare service turn into privatized garbage? Oh no. Just wait, dude. Just wait. If it's so important for powerful nations to help marginalized peoples abroad, then why am I about to ratio you? Speaking of ratio, exactly. Okay, shut up.
Of a guy who has unleashed a genocidal war.
Right. We
You
all
can
agree.
go on the doorstep with people who have not just echoed the talking points of the leaders of Saudi Arabia, but have actively gone there and supported sending the precise wars which are killing people in
That's
Yemen.
the party you joined. That's the party you joined. I mean, sorry,
But this is just, there's only two parties in it. There's one party that can get into government. If your argument is you have to accept that in this.
This is coming from you, an American who has school shootings all the time, calling the UK the most cuck country. Forgetting you're from the school shooting country. Imagine if you ever said all you African cucks. My favorite, dude. I love when people are just like, wow, making fun of Britland. How dare you? How dare you? Why won't you say this about Africa? Least racist English person? Yeah, homie just swapped it to EDL in like a second, dude. Just add pi, bruv. It's EDL, mate. It's f***ing EDL, mate. Says you. Don't you dare do anti-British racism. No, one, not a country. Two, not even the same. Would be the other way around. Yeah. Remember when Africa colonized the entire planet, lost all their colonial power, instituted the chattel slavery trade of white people, and then turned around and became the dog of the, next imperial superpower instead? So we're comparably cucked. Yeah. Oh, wait. The exact opposite happened at the behest of the crown that this dickhead is defending. Oh, no.
This party, nothing is about righteousness. Nothing is about justice. What it is about is these are the set parameters of the party. It's a party that supported colonialism quite recently. It's a party that went to the war in Iraq very recently. And so what we're going to do is when we're assessing who should be in it and who should not be in it, we're saying, is your relationship to foreign policy within the Labour tradition, and the Labour tradition being an incredibly imperialist and one which doesn't value lives equally. So I don't see how you can both say lives should be valued equally and we're going to let our sort of compassion towards people be sort of limited within that which has been valued within the Labour tradition. It just doesn't make any moral sense.
So it makes a lot of moral sense to me, but we're going around in circles. To me, I don't want Stalinism to be...
Stalinism? What the fuck? Dude, I love liberals, dude. They're so funny. Yeah, Stalinism was going to happen. Anyway, let's get back to Anthony Blinken.
The previous prime minister were determined to find the facts wherever they lead and to whomever they lead.
Well, so but does democracy only matter if they disagree with the United States government? What is your
Yes.
What is your actual basis for saying a government is undemocratic and another one it can't be invited and another one that's undemocratic can be invited?
Oh, dude, I love this. Yeah, I saw this earlier. California be like, President/Senate, D 67%, R 33. Should we give people the death penalty for camping outside of a park? Yes, 72%, no, 28%. Which is, by the way, the exact opposite of Florida, where in Florida, they're like, they vote for like Ron DeSantis, and then like 98% of the population of Florida is like, every prisoner should be able to vote and have access to, human rights and services. And it's like, how did that happen? Like, California and Florida are the exact opposite, where like they have the most reactionary politicians that they vote for, and then they vote for like the most woke state provisions, okay? Ron DeSantis didn't win by a wide margin. Sorry, I was thinking of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Yeah, $15 minimum wage. Anyway, did you just say something positive about Florida? I mean, yeah. It's a very interesting take. What is this? Journalists, it's time to show the bodies of mass shooting victims? Absolutely not, dude. That's insane. California is just pretentious Florida. American democratic safe havens are some of the most disgusting, gruesome, awful, neoliberal, conservative safe havens, dude. Please, New York is just the same. California is just the same. How many times do we have to go over this? And by the way, that showed itself in the primaries that took place yesterday, okay, where the progressive DHS Abudin was ousted, okay, by an incredible margin. His recall went through. Part of the reason why his recall went through is because despite the fact that in San Francisco, just like the rest of California, crime, specifically property crime, is actually lower than prior years. There was a gigantic misinformation campaign that was perpetrated by right-wing billionaire tech CEOs, and also the Democrats that work alongside them. So, you know, they own Chesapeake and personally linked like ongoing crime, which never stops in big cities, okay, until you personally deal with the material conditions in which crime manifests. All these goddamn liberals were like, oh, yeah, thank God he's gone. What a piece of shit he was, right? What a piece of shit he was. I'm losing my mind about that vote as a Bay Arean. San Francisco's so backwards nowadays. No, there is like... It's so wild. It's so wild how owned Chesapeake was, like so incredibly owned. He got recalled in last night's primaries by a $6.5 million campaign. He was recalled by less than 10% of San Francisco population, and national media is calling it a message to the party. Of course they're doing that. It's because local media also was using every opportunity to destroy him by linking all manner of crime, despite the empirical evidence suggesting that crime documented by the justice system was actually lower under Chesapeake's reign, which, for the record, also is outside of his power regardless, okay? Like, you can do only so much. They used that. They used everything they could. That's why you saw so many like videos of that's why you saw so many videos of like Walgreens being emptied out or whatever the I live in the Bay Area, and you are wrong. The local media were against this recall. Pepela? Yeah, totally, dude. No, you're right. We didn't see the local media literally cut some of the most fascist agitprop I've ever seen. Now, what's interesting about it is, though, that Krasner didn't get owned in a similar capacity in the same way that Chesapeake got owned. And Larry Krasner in Philadelphia is also an incredibly progressive district attorney with national prominence, as a matter of fact. So that was actually very, very interesting to see. Not sure. I live in the Bay Area my entire life, and I found the exact opposite to be true. The amount of chatters voting to avoid the top of the hour ad breaks just keeps going up as time goes on. I will get you back. I will get you back, and it will be merciless. It will be ruthless. Okay, just wait. But yes, at the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get one free Prime subscription a month. Okay? God damn you. How dare you? You can also get gifted a sub, but, you know, maybe you're not as lucky. But Bill Vog, thank you for the 5 get the subs. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. Report. San Francisco Police Department refused to participate in the quickly burglary ring bust. Boudin had to rent his own U-Haul. Now, one of my favorite things that has been ongoing in the whole like progressive DAs are responsible for the crime wave is that, one, the crime wave narrative is perfectly crafted by local media. Okay? So it doesn't even correspond to the actual material reality on the ground. But you can absolutely cut agitprop to make it seem like, you know, people are dying. Okay? Like all the time, nonstop. And it's true. That's exactly what happened in California over the course of this past year, as I've told you time and time again. And the second part of that is it's utilized as a way to bring on more funding for the police or justify further funding the police. And the police know this, so they go along with this narrative and claim that, like, you know, the actual purge is happening in San Francisco every day, and that they simply can't do anything, okay? They simply can't do anything about it because, you know, they're not funded well enough. And the DA is actually stopping them. Why? Because he's, like, prosecuting bad cops. Great stuff, dude. Thank you. It's like, no, it's the exact same problem in Uvalde. Cops are dog shit. Okay? They're dog shit. They're not doing their job. They're not. They are just very bad at solving crime, notoriously, with or without a progressive DA. But no, that's the real reason, because cops' feelings are hurt. And the real reason is because cops are not getting funded enough, even though they're getting, like, all the funds. And it frustrates me to no end when you talk about, like, when you talk about progressive DAs that are, like, letting criminals out, letting criminals out, letting criminals out. They're letting criminals out. They're releasing thousands of criminals into the streets. It's, like, not true. That is not. We can't have progressive DAs because the police will just refuse to do their jobs and then blame the DA for not taking cases. These pigs will suck down 200K salaries and claim the DA is wasteful government spending. Our DA is getting recalled because apparently the police not doing their jobs is exclusively his fault. Yes. There was an interview with the Majority's report today where the guest said that it could have been seen that the SFPD were in a work stoppage or extortion because arrests went way down. Yeah, they did the blue flu, like not a coordinated blue flu, but like kind of a secretive blue flu. Because if they had said that it's a blue flu, then the people in San Francisco would get mad at them for not doing the job. Okay? What is happening? Why are you guys all... Been living in San Francisco for 5+ years. Nothing wrong with experimenting new criminal justice approaches, but with CB, it was criminals over law-abiding citizens. All local media was publicizing against recall, except Marina Times. So many people, including minorities and elderly, have been victims of crimes. Some were killed. Yeah, I know. Totally. That was Chesabudin's fault. Like he did that personally. He was putting putting the interests of criminals over, because you know he has a genetic. He has the criminal gene because his parents were jailed. So obviously he also probably had the criminal gene. And for the record, nothing is going to change. You're just not going to hear about it as much. There's nothing to clean up. Everyone will just decide that the crimes that were an apocalyptic threat a week ago are gone now and go about their lives. Exactly. Because the same level of crime demonstrably existed before Boudin, okay, and it will continue to exist after Boudin. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the empirical evidence, crime literally dropped in that process, but it doesn't matter. Because if you have like one level of association with someone who's been victim of a crime and you're constantly seeing it get churned out in the media about like criminal gangs, you know, running rampant in San Francisco, criminal gangs running rampant in West Hollywood and in Los Angeles, you will see why this happened.
San Francisco's district attorney is facing a recall. I'm Jonathan Bloom, and here's what to know. It's Measure H on the June 7th ballot. A yes vote means you want to remove DA Chesa-Boudin, who took office in 2020. He's taken a lot of heat over the rise in thefts, assaults, and drug overdoses. If he's ousted, the mayor gets to name his replacement. Boudin is a progressive who says incarceration doesn't fix crime. His critics say his policies let thieves and drug dealers roam the streets without fear. Opponents of the...
Like, notice For the record, let me tell you why this is. San Francisco has had a measure in place. When was it? When was it passed? San Francisco had a measure that dictated that like anything below grand larceny is not enough to jail people, right? Hold on. I'll just pull it up. I want to give you the exact details. Hold on 1 second. So after San Francisco shoplifting video goes viral, officials argue thefts aren't rampant. So here it is. This is what was going on. This was popping off, right? So basically, there is a provision in San Francisco where that's not just San Francisco. Yeah, there's a lot of places that have this, but specifically in San Francisco, okay, specifically in San Francisco, they claimed that these crime waves were happening and these coordinated thefts were occurring. By the way, people say, who cares about San Francisco? Brother, what happens in San Francisco and in California is coming to your doorstep, okay? The libs go crazy when you mention that people should not go to jail for petty theft. Just wait, dude. Just wait. Let me just describe it, okay? People thought like robbing was happening crazy, okay? People were like, oh, robbing is out of control, dude. And that's why like they were closing down their stores and stuff like that. All agitative propaganda talking points that I have actually personally destroyed numerous times. You can find my YouTube videos on the matter. On the San Francisco crime wave. You can find my YouTube videos on the matter in California crime wave in general. Okay, I've talked about this before many times over. Okay. Now there was a proposition in California called California Prop 47. Okay. It's also known by its ballot title, Criminal Sentences, Misdemeanor Penalties, and Initiative Statute. Is a referendum passed by voters in the state of California on November 4th, 2014. Okay. The crimes affected were shoplifting, where the property value stolen does not exceed $950. Grand theft, where the value of the stolen property does not exceed $950. Forgery, where the value of the forged check does not exceed $950. And the effects of the measure was to convert many non-violent offenses, such as drug and property offenses, from felonies to misdemeanors. And these offenses included shoplifting, writing bag checks, and drug possession. The measure also required that money saved as a result of the measure would be spent on school truancy and dropout prevention, victim services, mental health, and drug abuse treatment. So that was passed in 2014. And yet, for some reason, everyone that wrote about this crime wave that's occurring, pinned it on the current San Francisco woke attitude and woke culture. Why the has it been going on since 2014, and yet only in 2020 where people like, look at this crime wave, look at this crime wave, look at this crime wave that's happening. These people are rushing into stores, brazen shoplifting sprees caught on camera. Look at the crime wave happening in San Francisco. Look at the crime wave, look at the crime wave, look at the crime wave, look at the crime wave. And it's not just San Francisco, it's in Los Angeles as well. Okay? It's been around since 2014. Why the was it only 2 years ago that this crime wave panic started happening? Despite the fact that literally crime had gone down during the pandemic and still has not reached pre-pandemic levels. So technically, before like crime in San Francisco and crime in California in general is still lower than pre-pandemic levels. It's because now you are paying attention to it, okay? That's it. That's it. And it's not an accident that this like crime wave narrative is being advanced all around the country and being pinned back to how police are just underfunded. Okay? The police are underfunded. The police are underfunded. The police are underfunded. The police are underfunded. That's why crime is increasing. That's why crime is increasing. Okay? I got a felony for a $50 bad check that kept me in poverty along with the 2008 recession from 2001 to 2013. When I finally got my felony removed from my record, I was instantly out of poverty with a middle-class job. If I hadn't had major support from friends, more crime would have been my only real option. Yep. Playing devil's advocate here, is there examples of stores closing and high theft and other reasons so we actually know what it looks like? I feel like people hear this argument and hear this can't happen ever. Okay. This is a failure. Okay? This right here, what you're seeing in front of your eyes, is of course a failure. It's a failure of the police to do their jobs, but more importantly, it's a failure of the systems. But you know what else is a failure? Seeing homeless people die in the middle of the street. But you are not conditioned into seeing that in the same way that you see this. Okay? You look at this and you go, that's bedlam. And then you pass by homeless people dying every goddamn day. It's the exact same failure of our institutions that is causing those exact same problems. Okay? This loss is built into the revenue of companies, built into the profit margin of companies. Anyone that's ever worked in retail knows that reality. Okay? The reason why a lot of these shops are closing is not because of mass targeted retail theft. It's because real estate prices are too expensive for brick and mortar retail. Okay? And there is demonstrable proof that, like, there are more stores closing in New York where there isn't this level of retail theft happening, according to the media, and yet more stores are closing in New York. I wonder why. More Walgreens stores were closing in New York, a higher per capita store closing in New York in comparison to San Francisco. I wonder what that was the reason for that. Okay? They just personally use as a PR. They personally use the retail theft along with the local media, constantly pumping this narrative to say that's the reason why we're closing these stores, actually. All right? Corporations can only try to fearmonger me about it, but I'm loving the crime they're faced with. How do you look to society collapsing right in front of our eyes and think like the systems have nothing to do with this, and it's just the unlawful and evil acts of individuals that is causing all of this to happen? What? Why are you showing me Matt Taibbi defending What Is a Woman, dude? I don't give a shit. As an accountant, this is 100% accounted for. It's usually put into an account called allowance for doubtful accounts. The amounts are reassessed every year. It's dumb as hell that people think companies will raise prices due to theft, Lamau, or that companies will shut down stores due to theft. My dad, who hates stealing, is now pro stealing food and other things because everything is so expensive now. People are changing and feeling the recession. Just wait until more people actually suffer. Exactly. With the rising cost of living. I think attitudes will shift around stealing shit, which of course is absolutely why upper middle class people personally recognize that you need the police even more than before in that situation. Okay? They see it coming, and they know that the only line of defense is cops. Someone did steal your t-shirts? Well, they literally brought it back and apologized, which was funny, but hey. What is this graph that explains everything? Thanks, man. High COL doesn't justify stealing. No. It's people trying to take matters into their own hands, dude. If you're starving, you're going to steal. I'm not going to hold that against you. What about assault? Well, no, that's what do you mean? Like, do you think I'm like pro crime or something? Is that what you think? Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you assaults? No, dude, it's unacceptable. As a matter of fact, part of the reason why I despise the police force is because of their proclivity towards assaulting random civilians. Article with graphs of different types of crime over time in San Francisco. Oh, yeah, here it is. San Francisco crime rates drastically shifted in the pandemic. These charts show what's going on now. Yeah, the crime that has increased dramatically is motor vehicle theft in San Francisco, whereas burglary is down. Assaults are relatively stable. And with everything except for motor vehicle theft, they like all other crimes are down across the board, just like the rest of the country. The only crimes that have increased in California is homicides. And it's not even in a neighborhood that you live in, so shut the fuck up. Is burglary down or up so people stop reporting? People always say burglary is down because people stop reporting it, except that grand larceny provision has been in place since 2014, so it would show itself in the data. Motor vehicle thefts are not going to change regardless of that provision. Do you understand? Because all cars are over, all Grand Theft Auto is still technically over $950 for the most part. Devil's advocate again. How bad would theft actually have to be to see stores close as a legitimate reason? Why has that ever actually happened before? Not sure. You are right in the big picture, but the specific dimension of the boot and recall that has to be addressed better is the perception that Asian victims of violent crime aren't taken seriously. Yeah, I saw that as well. I can't speak on that personally. I think there was one instance where like a hate crime occurred against an elderly Asian person, and the person that was apprehended was not thrown the book, right? And that was used as a propaganda talking point against Chesapeake, like over and over again in all of these different outlets, in all of these different avenues. And that was a very successful method. Ultimately, I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's probably a police problem more than a Chesapeake problem, but maybe I'm wrong. But what I do know is they spent $6.5 million on this recall campaign, okay? $6.5 million. And people legitimately are completely unaware of the reality as it pertains to crime in their backyard. Okay? Excuse me, I'm not a crazy person or anything. Is Hasan on the market? Dude, that is a crazy person take. Take 7 days off and think about that. Lives in SF and Asian. Yeah, that was heavily propagandized and targeted me and my other Asian friends. Opinion on Boudin soured for a lot of my friends. Yeah. It's a joke from the TikTok. Maybe. Okay, I got it. Why did everybody chime in? What? Do you agree? Build more housing, it'll lower rents? No, you can't just... I hate this. It's so... it's such a complicated situation that is like reduced to unironic YIMBY memes. Like we're like a r/neoliberal group of people that are like claiming to be social democrats or some. I hate Reddit memes. Let's say people stop reporting burglars. Wouldn't that mean people think the cops are useless, Lamau? No. No, people will only believe what the media tells them. Okay? So if the media tells them cops are useless, people are going to be like, okay, maybe cops are useless. But if people think that like and cops are useless, but if people think that like, oh no, it's actually because like cops aren't getting funded enough, then people are going to think, oh, it's because cops aren't getting funded enough. Anyway, let's keep watching this.
Recall say he's fixing a racist, broken justice system, and the rise in crime isn't his fault. Police data shows violent crime is down overall. Murders and shootings are up, but the FBI says that's nationwide, not just here, and the same with anti-Asian hate crimes. Our investigative unit has reported a rise in car break-ins, especially near popular tourist spots. The recall efforts raised about $6 million with support from the police union and money from real estate groups and tech billionaires, especially Republican activist William Oberdorf. The opposition's raised about half as much with money from the ACLU and endorsements by the Chronicle and 2/3 of the Board of Supervisors saying they want to keep the DA. But for Chesa-Boudin, the polls don't look good. Voters surveyed say they want him out by more than 2-1. We'll find out if those numbers hold up when we see you on Election.
Poll by the Chamber of Commerce reflected exactly what the recall vote looked like.
Night.
Cops are useless. My mom was assaulted in her apartment building and didn't do any insight about how this was an effort to get the former, more neoliberal DA, Susie Loftus. No, that's what's gonna happen. Dude, even progressives think that like these guys are. Bro, even progressives think these guys are personally not doing anything. Okay. Like you've lost like even social democrats and like that. You've literally. I don't see a way out of this other than just like having a super charismatic DA or something. You know what I mean? Having a super charismatic DA that has like broad momentum and can activate local organizers and continue to do successful get out the vote campaigns and shit like that. Otherwise, like it's not going to happen. You're always going to have like more reformist. Wait, what the? More reformist liberal. Not more reformist. Sorry, you're going to have liberal mayors and put into positions of power dog shit people that are working alongside the police and the police union.
The DA of San Francisco just conceded he has been recalled.
Yeah. Why don't you run and stream the whole process? Because I will never win. I will lose, and I will be destroyed.
George Gascon, you're next.
I mean, this guy literally runs gangs, brother. Like, you can hate George Gascon all you want, but like, homie just straight up runs a gang. Also, I'm terrible at time management as is. I don't want to do something that I'm not good at, okay? I know what I'm good at. This is what I'm good at, demonstrably so. I would like to continue doing what I'm good at. Feel me? I saw this and you say this a lot. AOC did, but the right wing is going hard at her for now calling the truth. The right is trying to dunk on AOC for sourcing Chicago gun violence to Indiana, but it's 100% an accurate fact. All right, let's see what AOC... do you have the original video of AOC saying that? I am not your only hope, dude. Okay? You are your only hope. I am nothing. I'm a dickhead. I can only push you towards the appropriate measures that you can take in your life, in your workplace. Okay?
Talk fact.
Anyway, here, let's see what AOC had to say about gun violence, probably spitting absolute truths.
Here. There was a lot of discussion about New York City. There is no discussion about gun violence in New York City without discussing the iron pipeline that is Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and honorary mention to Ohio, where 70% of likely illegal trafficked guns found in New York City come from. There's no discussion about gun violence in Chicago without talking about Indiana. Because the violence and the mothers that we have to comfort are losing children due to the guns and the carnage and the lawlessness unleashed by those states. I move on. Every week in recent memory, we have had at least one mass shooting. Ms. Pringle, you are the president of the National Education Association. You represent teachers. Between 2009 and 2018, how many school shootings did the United States have?
288.
288. Now let's look globally. Our G7 partners, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom, combined, how many school shootings did those countries have?
50 times more.
In almost 10 years. 288 versus 5. This is not normal. Not only is it not normal.
Where's the video coming from? Where's the video? One of these links has a video running. No, it's not the YouTube video. Finish watching the clip? No, I'm not talking about that. I don't. Okay, whatever.
It is internationally embarrassing and delegitimizing to the United States. Because for all the billions and trillions that this body authorizes in the name of national security, we can't even keep our kids safe from their schools being turned into a war zone.
I see where it was coming from.
Now let's talk about why. Let's talk about one thing more important to lobbyists and the gun industry than children, than houses of faith, than human beings. Let's talk about profit. Mr. Suplina, in 2020, 22.8 million guns were sold.
So people are yelling at her for this?
Reflecting a 64% increase from 2019, correct?
Correct.
In one.
People are yelling at her about this. Okay. Except it's 100% facts. It's 100% true. I've talked about this many times. Majority of guns used in Chicago crimes come from outside Illinois, okay? The majority. Nearly 60% of guns recovered in Chicago come from out-of-state dealers, with more than 20% traced back to Indiana, according to a newly released report on the city's violence. The 2017 Gun Trace report released Sunday also showed that nearly a quarter of the guns recovered in Chicago were sold by just 10 federally licensed firearms dealers, 7 in Illinois, 3 in Northwest Indiana. The report is a part of a collaboration between Chicago Police Department, Mayor Rahm Emanuel's office, and the University of Chicago Crime Lab. Bringing a gun into Chicago can be as simple as driving less than an hour to a gun show in Indiana where private sales are not recorded and do not require a background check. 850 guns connected to crimes in Chicago have been connected to one store in Indiana. The lawsuit alleges Westworth Sports feeds the market for illegal firearms by knowingly selling its products to an ever-changing roster of gun traffickers and straw purchasers who transport Westworth's guns from Indiana into Chicago. Everything to the left of the dotted line you see here is Chicago, and everything to the right is Indiana. The dividing line is called the State Line Road for reasons that should be obvious to even get guns. That's it. They go over the dotted line.
Easiest.
Here is now this conducting an investigation.
How easy
showing how easy it is to traffic guns.
Is it to traffic guns across state lines?
Let's take a look.
We went to the NRA convention.
Nobody was ever killed by a gun. It all depends on the operator.
To expose a myth at the heart of the gun debate.
I hear this all the time. Gun control laws don't work because criminals don't follow the laws.
We bought a gun with a teenager.
Do you feel like you would be safe in your use of it?
Not at all.
Took that gun on a road trip and faced the consequences.
We're at the NRA convention to challenge them on a favorite talking point.
In Chicago, which has the toughest gun laws in the United States, they have more gun violence than any other city.
The city of Chicago has some of the most stringent firearms laws in this country.
They have the strictest gun laws in the country.
The toughest gun laws in our country.
Yet they have one of the highest homicide rate and violent crime rates.
They have the highest number of gang-related killings.
Everything about that is wrong. Chicago does not have the nation's strictest gun laws. It does not have the highest gun violence. And the gun violence it does have might have more to do with what's happening right here in Indiana, the home state of Mike Pence, Pete Buttigieg, and some of the loosest gun laws in the nation. I'm here with Igor Volsky of Guns Down America. Talk to me about this story that Chicago is proof that gun laws don't work.
Folks argue, look, Chicago has some of the strongest gun laws on the books.
And it does.
Famously, Chicago, what do I always say? Famously, Chicago is in space and not like connected to multiple states where you can get guns easily and traffic it across the border easily.
It does have strong laws.
And it does have strong laws, though not the strongest. What we know is that about 60% of the guns that end up in Chicago crime scenes come from out of state. We actually have a report from the Chicago Police Department that lists the top 10 stores that are responsible for selling a lot of the guns that end up in crimes in Chicago. I bet that if we go to one of those stores and show just how easy it is to purchase that gun.
Yes, the reason why what do I always say is probably the most said line in this channel is because I unfortunately have to repeat myself every single day. Being a Twitch streamer, especially a leftist political commentator who's a Twitch streamer, living in the United States of America and consistently talking about issues that pertain to like American existence in contemporary society means that I have to repeat myself sometimes numerous times over the same hour, over the same broadcast, and certainly over the course of a year or multiple years. That's precisely why you can look back at videos that I have cut from like 2016, 2017, even before that, and look at the exact same arguments that I am using back then and have it apply perfectly, unfortunately, perfectly into our current existence. Because America refuses to recognize any of these problems, let alone recognize those problems and then offer solutions for them.
And then bring it across the border, we'll be able to illustrate the problem.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, Nick, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our buyer did need to be an Indiana resident. Fortunately, we met up with a local activist who was happy to help us out.
More like local jacktivist, dude. What the f? This dude's fucking, what is this, the most handsome man in Indiana? They found literally the most handsome man in Indiana.
We're going to a gun store in Hammond, Indiana. It's one of the top stores that sells guns in Indiana that end
like, yeah, Beefcake Ludwig is right, dude. That's what happens when you're on a steady diet of corn, homie.
up at crime scenes in Chicago.
And we have the help of Nick. Nick, introduce yourself.
I am a current student at Indiana University. I am very concerned about loopholes that we might have here in the state of Indiana and the country as a whole. My generation has been plagued by these high school shootings, and I really want to test it out to see if me personally, if I can go out and buy a gun today.
So, Nick is going to buy a gun where he will be subjected to less of a background check than he would have if he were in Chicago.
Well, yeah, that's right. In Chicago, in order to have a gun, you have to have a special identification card. It basically functions kind of like a license. But we should know that because Nick is 19, he can't legally purchase a handgun. The age for that is 21, so he's going to purchase a long gun.
We actually spoke to a March for Our Lives leader who was going to help us with this. He was 21, he could buy a handgun, he was not old enough to rent a car. So as a result, he actually wasn't able to do the experiment.
That's right.
Unlike our gun laws, our car laws are actually, there's a fair amount of regulation.
Cars here are a really apt analogy. We as a society decided to increase the standard for driving, right? We made cars safer, we put these seatbelts in, we increased the standard to get a driver's license, we made our roads safer, and as a result, we've really decreased deaths from auto accidents.
And no one is saying, well, you know, some people are going to speed, therefore we should have no speed limits.
As we were driving to the gun store with a 19-year-old, news broke about another 19-year-old with a gun.
So there appears to be a shooting in San Diego, California.
America, just America things, you know? On the way to cutting more footage about like gun violence and how to stop it, you're going to find, you know, many other instances of mass shootings happening in other parts of the country. Of course, that's just American reality.
There's a shooting happening.
That is what I call an America moment. An America moment. There you go.
Now?
Yeah, in a synagogue. All we know is that a man has been detained following a shooting incident. There are reports of injuries, but that's all we know.
One person was killed and 3 wounded at the San Diego synagogue. The 19-year-old alleged gunman was charged with a hate crime. It was one of at least 9 mass shootings in America that weekend.
So right now we are in Lake County. That's the closest county in Indiana to Chicago, and we're heading down to the gun store that we're going to purchase our gun today.
Yeah, so according to the Chicago PD, this store is one of 10 where a lot of crime guns that are used in Chicago are purchased.
Ah, is this the place up ahead of us?
Yes, it is.
Hell yeah, brother. Look at that glorious place. Makes me say, yee yee, mother. I look at that and I say to myself, that's Freedom Palace. You got a goddamn problem with that? You libtard bastards. Cabbalas!
So I just started my timer on this. How'd it go?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Look at this. Remington. Ah.
We're going to do an unboxing.
I'm sorry you had to stand in line for so long.
Yeah, the actual process of background check and purchasing took less time.
Yeah, libtard, because a lot of people are trying to buy guns. You know what I'm saying? That's right. They're trying to buy guns. That's why the line is so goddamn long. Because everybody's trying to get a gun. This is why we don't need background checks, because I'm inconvenienced. Every moment that I'm standing in line to buy a new gun that I can shove in my means I'm not standing in line for jalapeno poppers at Applebee's. What the f?
And then the process of waiting in line. The background check form, we did it all on an iPad. So that process was probably 5 minutes. And then him having to go in and look at everything through the FBI, I would say 5 to 10 minutes. And I actually thought it was kind of crazy how easy it was.
Can we get this into the front seat so that you can do the honors?
Let's see here.
I don't.
Let's try.
It's very long. Oh, you might want to go the other way here. Yep, there you go. Go up.
All right. There we go.
Oh, careful,
All right.
careful, careful. Okay. Oh.
Okay.
So this is the Model 783 bolt action rifle from Remington.
You said this is not the weapon that was used at Sandy Hook, but the weapon that was used at Sandy Hook was a Remington.
That's right, and that's
Okay, to be fair though, like that's not going to be used in a mass shooting, dog. That's a sniper rifle. You know what I mean? Like that's a bolt action. Like that's not. This is one of those instances where it's like, dude, a bolt. I'm not even in favor of like banning bolt action rifles. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do with that? The Texas Bell Tower mass shooting, though, yeah, dude. Okay, that's a little bit. I mean, that is actually a hunting rifle. Okay, that is a rifle that you use for hunting. I'm hella dangerous a bolt at. Yeah, okay, dude.
That's also why Remington is being sued by the families of Sandy Hook.
The Vegas concert shooting, dog, are you serious? The Vegas concert shooting also had bump stocks and multiple AR-15s. What are you talking about? The entire point of weapons like this. Oh God, am I a gun pervert? I sound like a gun pervert right now. But the entire purpose of guns like this, not being as severely restricted or as limited, like that. This is an introductory rifle. Okay, what he went and purchased in this circumstance is the type of gun that you would learn how to shoot with. Okay. It's a bolt action. It's a bolt action rifle. It's you need to pull back. Like it limits. It probably has a higher recoil. Well, it does have higher recoil than like than something like an AR-15. Okay, that gun personally is not exactly super easy to do mass shootings with. Okay. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter because, like, you know, you can still buy a gun and bring it into Chicago very easily, right? But the point is, that is not, like, that actually has more utility than just, shooting for fun. Anyone who tells you that an AR-15 is good for hunting varmint or whatever, or good for home defense, is lying to you. An AR-15 is not only not good for killing raccoons and it's also $1 per bullet currently, in comparison to a 22, which is like what, 6 cents, 95 cents. Okay, AR-15s and the 5.56 bullet that it uses is a caliber that is not necessary unless you want to explode raccoons. Okay, the only thing that it's good for is it's a fun weapon to use, and it's a cool weapon to use, and it has a lot of customization options, and that's precisely why the gun manufacturers defend it aggressively. Okay, that's it. That's the only reason that AR-15 is so like heavily defended. The main reason why people defend it is because it's cool. Okay, it's cool and it's fun to shoot. That's it. And the main reason why the gun manufacturers defend it is because it has a lot of customization options and it is like the most popular weapon. Okay, that's it. Yeah, AR-15, more like Amazing Rifle 15. Exactly. So do not act like it's anything but a hobby. This, on the other hand, can have utility. Okay, hunting. You can use this gun for hunting. Not necessarily great for hunting humans. In the same way that not necessarily in the same way that an AR-15 is. AR-15 is good for hunting humans. This is actually good for hunting. Okay? But yes, it does have microtransactions. Exactly. The customization options for a bolt-action rifle like this are limited. After all, it literally comes with the scope, right? You can get it without one too, but the customization options for an AR-15, however, are endless, okay? In comparison to like this. And that's also another reason why people love selling AR-15s, because there's so much cool that you can add onto it for all the tactical dickheads. The fact that they said the Sandy Hook guy also used the Remington makes them look so damn stupid to anyone who understands more than Black Rifle Scary. Yeah, exactly. Not to be too much of a, gun weeb or gun pervert, but yes, when this is an area where like liberals do have a significant weakness, where they'll say like, well, the other gun was a Remington too. Yeah, dude. Okay, but that's just the company. You got to look at the platform. You got to look at the caliber. Like, those are gigantic differences between guns like that. True, you don't make your money on the gun. You make it on like the 700 scope and 500 flashlight. No, you make your money on the gun too. But straight up, like, it is a super customizable, very cool looking gun, and that's why people post it. That's why people defend it nonstop. It has no utility. For the record, do not misunderstand. There is no utility for that weapon. An AR-15 is only just fun to shoot. That's it.
Wow. Okay. There it is. Do you feel like if you just loaded this up yourself right now that you would be safe in your use of it?
Not at all. Not at all. Not one bit.
All right. We are going to go for the Illinois border. To the border, where
he's saying that's where retailers make most of their money. Profit margins on firearms and retail stores is actually pretty slim. They make bank on accessories though. Yeah, that's why they defend it. Exactly. Just like I defend the top of the hour ad break. Like, that's where I make my money. You know what I mean? At the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime. You know? Or you can get gifted a sub. If you like the content and you're like, I want other people to no longer see the ads, you gift a sub. Maybe. If you're lucky enough, you can avoid the ads that way as well. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. I'm going to come with so much worse segues today. Just wait, dude. Just wait. Just you wait. You guys did this to me, okay? You double debated me twice this today. Yeah. Just you wait, bitch. All right, demand Rich Campbell level ads ready today. Talk about the Mountain Dew can. Right.
Different kind of crisis is happening.
In half a mile, turn left onto Indianapolis Boulevard. In a quarter mile, keep right to merge onto US 41 and toward Chicago.
The biggest obstacle is the weather at this point.
Yeah.
If anything would stop us from bringing a gun into Chicago, it is the freezing rain and hail.
Gun trafficking is best done on beautiful days.
All right, so there it is. Now we are actually going to come just short of crossing the border. We don't actually want to bring this gun into Illinois, but there is nothing stopping us from doing so. There is no border wall.
They are kind of big libs, these guys. Yeah, I mean, they are. Of course they're big libs. He literally said, oh, you bought a long barrel Remington rifle, which is the same gun used in not the same gun used in Sandy Hook, but the same manufacturer in Sandy Hook, Remington.
There is no check, and we could be in Illinois.
We're technically in the Chicago metropolitan area.
From the moment Nick walked into the store to the time we reached the Illinois border was just over 2 hours, and the drive from the store to the border itself was under 4 minutes.
The NRA's supporters say that Chicago is proof that gun laws don't work, and there is a kernel of truth in that. Local laws can only do so much, and if neighboring areas have weaker laws, we can only be as safe as the weakest link. So could it be that the NRA is making the strongest case possible for federal gun regulation?
Yes, of course it is. That's the whole point. America is not a island. These states are not removed from one another. Of course, if you're going to try to do like local laws, they're only going to go so far. They're only going to go as far as how much and how easily you can avoid those local laws and restrictions by, going to the one state over.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you need a federal standard, a higher federal standard, so that we're all safe.
Well, now we're going to take this particular gun out of circulation.
Yes.
Nick, you've offered to take this gun to your local police station, and it will be destroyed.
Pussy!
Nick called the Indian.
You should have used it, brother. I mean, I would not. That's a nice gun, you know? You can like go to the shooting range or something, you know?
Indianapolis police and made arrangements to drop off the gun.
Okay.
They were surprised that he wanted to hand over a brand new rifle. But they took it and gave him a receipt documenting that it would in fact be destroyed.
Someone said, be careful just giving that to the police. Holy don't worry, brother. He is literally the most corn-fed man in America. Did you not see what he looks like, dude? He looks like Ludwig on steroids, okay? You think the police are going to kill Ludwig on steroids when he's, like, personally delivering a gift-wrapped sniper rifle? You kidding me, dude?
Now, you and I, through these videos, this is the second gun that...
Now they're going to take that and raffle it off to a 9-year-old at a barbecue? Yeah. They're like, yeah, hell yeah, we're destroying it. Yeah, we're definitely taking it out of circulation. Yeah, that's right.
We have taken off the streets of America. How many are left?
We have over 393 million guns in civilian hands.
We better get busy.
Let's go.